Welcome in to the Punt and Pass podcast. I'm your host, Drew Butler, joined alongside my co-host, Jake Fromm. Be sure to follow us on social media at Punt and Pass on X and Instagram. I'm at Drew Butler. He's at From Jake, puntandpass.com, the number one destination for all things college football. Man, I cannot believe it's week 7 already. The college football season is flying by. We have an amazing slate of games this weekend. I don't want to look ahead to next weekend, but next weekend is one of the best weekends in college football in recent memory. These are the days, Jake. These are the fall days. I don't know if you've looked at the forecast for next week in Atlanta, Georgia. Thoughts and prayers to our brothers and sisters down in Florida. We hope you guys stay safe. I'm a little bit reluctant to say how good the weather is in Atlanta. Again, I won't even go there. Hope everybody in Florida is doing well for sure. But it's the Punt and Pass podcast. Week 7 is here. Jake Fromm, how are you, my man?
Dude, it is here. It's what we live for with college football. Things are really starting to happen and really kind of shake out and play. So super excited about that. The weather's changing up here in Michigan. Yes, prayers out to all the folks down there in Florida. It's going to be crazy. So just going to be staying up to date here with the news and checking out what's going on there. But I mean, that is crazy. College football is crazy. Life is crazy.
Yeah, I've got cousins down there in the Clearwater, Tampa area. You know, they're still picking up the pieces from Helene. And obviously they've gotten out of Dodge and they just have their fingers crossed. And they're hoping it's not just complete and total devastation as it's been in Western North Carolina. So, again, thoughts and prayers to everybody that's been affected. And we hope it's not the worst case scenario with Hurricane Milton. How are you otherwise? I understand that, you know, and these are the intricacies of being a professional football player. You now are a family man. You have a young child. You've been solo dolo for the week, dude. I mean, you're like living how old are you now? 28?
26, coach.
26-year-old's dream. I mean, the wife and kid are away. You're at home. You're just working. Like, walk me through today. What was today for Jake Fromm?
Yeah, so been solo, been without those guys, left them back in Atlanta at the in-laws place there, and been on my own since then.
Okay.
Man, it sucks. Miss him to death. Miss the little man. He's dude, he is really starting to kind of come into his own and figure out a personality and a voice, and it is awesome watching him come alive. But yeah, man, been solo, been grinding at work. Played Dallas this week, so. We had a work day on Monday and Tuesday. Today's kind of a weird quasi coming off a bye week off day today. So been bored, tried to get some guys together to play some golf this afternoon. Weather feels so great. Nice. Couldn't get anybody on board. So hung out at a buddy's house, watched the Tigers play postseason baseball, played some Catan. I mean, this is just life as a professional football player.
How about you, man? I mean, that's awesome. And the Detroit Tigers, they
won 3-0
today. So they're up 2-1.
That's
they
right.
win one more game against the Indians. They'll be in the ALCS. Great time to be in Detroit.
How about this? My landlord, Will Vest, pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. He came in and threw like an inning and 2/3, I think, of a shutout. So got to watch him tonight. And I got to give him a little shutout text here later this evening.
All right, cool. Hey, if you want to get in on some of that ALCS action, head on over to Prize Picks. I mean, I'm sure Will Vest will be up on the board for sure. This episode of Punt and Pass is presented to you by Prize Picks. It's going to be an amazing weekend of college football. NFL tonight, Thursday night football, little NFC West action. PGA Tour's back. NHL hockey is back. This is the best time to be on Prize Picks, and listen to what Prize Picks is doing for all Punt and Pass listeners. When you download the Prize Picks app or go to prizepicks.com, if you use the promo code PUNT, you get an instant $50 when you play your first $5 entry. Let me restate that. If you play your first $5 entry after you use the promo code PUNT when you sign up, you get $50 instantly, win or lose. It's that simple. Prize Picks is the best daily fantasy platform in the world. There's no doubt about that. They're giving you $50 instantly when you play your first $5 entry, and all you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll, and you can win up to 100x your money. We've had a bunch of new signups, which is really exciting. We appreciate everybody helping us out and supporting Prize Picks. They are the best partner. Shout out to Adam Wexler and the whole crew over there doing amazing work. The app is so sick. The UX, UI, user experience, user interface for all my software folks out there is incredible. Use the promo code PUNT. Tell a family member. Tell a friend. Shout out to Prize Picks. All right, let's jump right into first down. It's 3 and out. And this is one that you and I just have to talk about, Jake. We have to talk about it. Some news broke out of Athens, I believe, on Monday night. Colbie Young, transfer wide receiver from the University of Miami, was arrested. And I'm not going to get into the details of why he was arrested. If you know that he was arrested, you understand it is a bad situation all around. Not good whatsoever. He has since been suspended indefinitely from the team. And these instances are starting to pile up. And now that they're in season, Jake, it almost seems like things are just not the way they should be at Georgia. Where does the blame lie? That's the biggest question. And I think a lot of fans, Georgia fans specifically, look at it and they may or may not take a certain side. And I'm not saying they're siding with what had happened, but I would say that they're siding on is this a culture issue? Is something innately wrong at the University of Georgia? As an alumni, you're embarrassed when you see these things continue to happen. Look, when I was at Georgia, I want to say it was 2008 when we were ranked number 1 on the preseason. There was tons of incidences, and they were just arrests. Go back and look at what they were for. But when they start to pile on one another, a lot of questions come with it, Jake. Jeff Saturday was on First Take. Jeff Saturday, all-pro center, Peyton Manning center for years and years. He was the interim coach for the Indianapolis Colts. I believe he's coached at Hebron Christian here in the Atlanta area for a long time. A great broadcaster as well. Jake, he said this on First Take, and he was talking about Robert Saleh being fired by the New York Jets. He said, players create the culture. Coaches create the vision. And I thought that was so spot on. Players create the culture of a team and in a locker room. Coaches create the vision. Hey, players, this is the direction we're going to go in. I think it's pretty fair to say Kirby Smart, in his 8-9 years at Georgia, has created a pretty damn rock-solid vision. Now, in this new era of college football, and I'm certainly not making an excuse for any of the actions that have happened or going to happen or are happening, players create the culture. What I'm saying, Jake, and I've said this in the past, and we've talked about these incidences at Georgia, it is up to the players at this point. I don't know what more the coaches can do. Jake, you and I both know how many seminars, speakers, sessions you sit in as a student athlete learning about what to do, what not to do. And when these things happen, it's just really sad all around.
Yeah, it is sad. Absolutely breaks my heart. I mean, the whole situation's just not good. And I was on Brandon Adams' show this morning.
BA, saw BA weekend. He's awesome, Dog Nation Daily.
BA is awesome. I kind of mentioned a clip that I saw from Zach Klein's show talking to Champ Bailey, and I think Champ Bailey was spot on about this. And then I'll kind of give a little bit of my perspective because I was there with Kirby. Kirby, let me just tell you, is doing all he absolutely possibly can to create a culture and environment that creates highly competitive football players and helps grow good, strong young men. Okay. And he is doing more now today than he ever has. I can tell you that because personally, one, I have lived it through my time there. And I go there all the time in the off season, train, get ready for my NFL season. And I can see what they're doing, what's on the meetings, and like the time that they're spending in these meetings to help grow a better connection with each other as far as relationship from person to person in that locker room and development, character development, leadership development meetings. He's doing more now than he ever has. And so that leads me to say what Champ Bailey said is like at some point there has to be accountability for the young men and their own actions. I think this is a bigger societal issue as far as us as young men. At some point, man, we got to stand up for something, stand up for the right things, and do the right thing. So I think this is bigger. than just a locker room, bigger than just college football. I'm kind of speaking broadly here, broad strokes of just, hey man, young men, dude, we got to be serious and take care of our business. We got to do the right things. We got to take care of our girlfriends, of our wives, and we got to take care of our families. So this is bigger than that. But we can kind of see it in its own little cosmo here in a locker room at the University of Georgia, where the spotlight is at. And I think all young men really need to get serious about taking accountability for their actions, and get serious and really think about where they want to be in life and where they want to go.
No, you said it perfectly. And to your experiences being in the building, you said you see and you know what meetings are going on. When you're walking around any football facility, they've got TVs all over the place that have schedules from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. of where these guys are supposed to be. And you see the player development meetings that are going on. Surely at the University of Georgia, they have had more than enough defensive driving, how to drive, how not to drive classes, seminars, speakers come in. I can only tell you how many domestic what's the right word?
Domestic violence,
domestic
disputes,
just all that stuff, all deterrence, domestic, the professionals that come in, the resources that are used to teach student athletes, not only at Georgia, this is at every school, every big time school across the country. These are the top of the top tier people who are coming in to teach student athletes, young men from all different walks of life, how to handle specific situations. And Jake, I've said it time and again, I truly believe, and look, you don't have to feel bad for Kirby Smart. You don't have to feel bad for Robert Saleh, who just got fired from the New York Jets. He's going to get paid $20,000 a day for the next 4 years. If Billy Napier gets fired, he's going to get a complete boatload of money. I've said it time and time again. Being a head college football coach is one of the hardest jobs in the country. You have 125 18 to 22-year-olds from 125 different socioeconomic backgrounds, right? That's just a matter of fact. Jake, you grew up in Warner Robins. I grew up in Duluth, Georgia. You and I are different. I played with guys from Miami, Florida. I played with guys from Texas. I played with guys from South Georgia. We are all so different. And the job of these coaches is to create the vision. Hey, everybody needs to come together. We need to fight and work with one another. The players now have to create this culture. And I cannot say it enough. Somebody in that locker room or a group of guys in that locker room need to step up and say, guys, we have to cut it out. If we want to win a championship, we have to cut it out. The driving, the domestic disputes, anything and everything. It's up to the guys in the locker room. I don't know what's going to happen with this Colbie Young situation. His lawyer made a statement. He's been suspended indefinitely. Clearly, University of Georgia has to go through a legal process. I mean, this is way out of Kirby Smart's hands. It's way out of the athletic department's hands. They are going through a legal process now. They're not going to say anything. They're going to wait for the details to come in. A judgment will be ruled, when that time is necessary. But man, it's just really unfortunate and it sucks. And I feel bad for the girl, and I feel bad for just the overall situation for everybody involved. I don't have an answer, but truly, players create the culture. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I don't have the specific answer for this specific situation, but I know from experience, I mean, you're going to end up being like the people that you surround yourself with. So if you see some people and you're like, man, I want to be like that. I want to live like that. Hey man, you better go surround yourself with those kind of caliber people. And you find that in the locker room, you find that in class, you find that in your family life, whatever. You'll find those people. Surround yourself with some good people, and they'll take care of you, and they'll sharpen you, man. As iron sharpens iron. Like,
yeah,
it happens. Live it out. Go do it. And the last thing, like Kirby, kind of going back, he gives so much time and effort into all these different things. There's time scheduled out throughout training camp. Every single night in training camp at 8:00, there's time for another speaker. So
no
I mean, like, you're getting it. These kids are getting it. At some point, they have to take accountability for their own actions, even with all the new distractions that you get in today's college football world. Doesn't matter. Yes, it is harder. Sure. I'll give you that. It is harder in today's world. But to me, that's still not an excuse.
Yeah. Look, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, I got text messages after that instance happened, and they were like, "What's going on?" And I said, "It's nobody's fault but that kid's." Let's please not try to deflect blame or point figures. It's his fault. If he did it, it's his fault. And it's just really unfortunate. And what you said about surrounding yourself with the right people, I mean, that's just a life lesson. I'm 35 now. I'm out of the game. I've got 3 kids. I got a great wife and a great family. I want to surround myself with people who are living that same type of life. So look, we'll see what happens, but I thought it was important for you and I to kind of discuss that and just talk about our experiences in those types of situations. So hope everybody in that instance is okay. That's really what I hope. All right, let's go to second down. This one was interesting. Old buddy of both of ours, you played. He was a coach of yours, Shane Beamer, now the head coach at South Carolina. I've gotten to know Coach Beamer pretty well over the years. He was, of course, the former special teams coordinator at the University of Georgia. I missed this on Monday's pod, but after the Ole Miss game, I believe this was in his Monday interview. Ole Miss, I guess they've had a little reputation going around, Jake, of maybe faking some injuries to slow down opposing offenses. And it's happened time and again. And it happened a lot during the South Carolina game. And Shane Beamer went back actually to the week before when Ole Miss lost to Kentucky. And he had this to say about how Ole Miss is slowing down the game after they lost to Ole Miss in his Monday press conference.
I hope they're okay. It's remarkable to me how many, maybe it's something there's, and listen, I got my own problems. We just got our butts kicked 27-3. But it's fascinating to me how many injuries occur for them after the opposing offense makes a first down or has a big play. And you go back and watch the Wake Forest game. It happens a lot to the same guy. You watch the Kentucky game. It happens a lot. So certainly we'll look at the tape, and I know there's a review process as well, but it's again, I hope those guys are well and they're great players, and I really hope they're okay. I know he had a big injury report this week, and I'm sure it'll be another big one this week as well, but we'll look at it, and there's not much the officials can do during the game, but certainly it's a thing that, we discussed with, or we'll discuss with the people above us as well. But again, I got my own problems on our own team right now, but I think if it's the timing of some of the injuries, it's a really bad look for college football, and it's not what this game's about. If what it looks like is what's accurate.
Okay, so first things first, big credit to Shane Beamer for kind of level setting and saying, I have my own problems. We just got our butts whipped 27-3. So he's certainly not creating an excuse. I do understand that Coach Beamer has kind of gotten a little bit of a reputation for maybe complaining, making excuses, but he's not doing that in this instance. He is simply saying this is a wider problem across college football. It's happening more prevalently with Ole Miss. Now you're starting to hear rumblings of how can this get reined in? How can referees and officials designate what would be a fake injury? How can you police this, Jake? Because I'll just go back to when I was playing. I'm not going to name the certain coach. Well, I'll name the coach, Todd Grantham, former defensive coordinator. I mean, these things were discussed, and it happens in the NFL as well. It's like, dude, if we are getting absolutely run on and our defense is gassed, go down, fake an injury, like stop the game. Let us collect ourselves, go over to the coaches, let the training staff come out there with some water and just kind of understand what the hell is going on. Now, clearly when it's happening as consistently as what it seems like, or at least what Coach Beamer is saying Ole Miss is doing, he's right. This is not good for the game. So what do you do? I mean, as a quarterback, come on, dude, you know this is happening all over the place.
Yeah, it can be frustrating at times. I kind of equate this to the game of basketball, right? And basketball is such a game of rhythm, and you get going, you make some shots, right? If Steph Curry, just goes down and it's just popping threes in your face, hey, you're going to call timeout. Well, in basketball, you get a lot more timeouts than you do in football. So you have to find the way in football to stop that rhythm. And quite frankly, straight up, this is a tactic that is being used quite frequently in the game. Now, how do you solve this problem? I don't know. This might be a little bit above my head. I mean, do you make sure the player is done for a drive? Is he done for a quarter? I don't know what that answer is. But we have to be able to find something so we can get the pure college football game, right, that we want, that everybody wants, everybody bleeds for, everybody loves. We just want this game to be pure. We want it to stay pure for as long as it can. And quite frankly, sometimes we just don't get the pure product that we're looking for. And I love Beamer, man, just being genuine about it, the whole thing. Like, hey, I think this is happening. Yes, we just got our butt kicks. I gotta handle some stuff here on my side, but hey, I just want to throw it out there. I think this is odd and it needs to get fixed.
It is odd. It's not uncommon. As I said, in the NFL, it happens as well. I'm sure it happens in high school football too. It's just something to where, and we'll get to this next in third down, in response to the sign stealing scandal, now quarterbacks have in-helmet communications with play callers. Like that clearly goes right to attacking stealing signs. I just don't know what the answer is. Certainly, you're not going to give more than 3 timeouts per half. I mean, that would ruin the fabric of the game of football.
Yeah.
How would you be able to determine a fake injury? I don't know. I really don't know. Delay of game calls, like that certainly can help. A 10-second runoff under 2 minutes, that would certainly stop guys from going down. You have to make it to where if they're really injured, clearly they got to be out for the next play. That already happens. But in terms of go down, when these guys are driving on us, 5-yard penalty, delay of game, loss of down, maybe. I don't know, but I guarantee you this is going to be addressed after the season. And as college football just continues to change, they will 100% put something in because it's becoming an issue. And he's right. This is an issue, Jake.
Yeah, I see 2 things being an issue. One, how do you measure the extent of the injury? I mean, you've had it. I've had it where you just get a little small minor cramp, and you're like, okay, hey, that got me a little calf, a little hammy.
Even when you roll your ankle and it's okay, you just kind of put weight back on it, and you're good to go 2 minutes later.
And especially at the quarterback position, look, if I ever got hurt, I'm walking off on my own power. I don't care if my legs turn the other way, right? That's just the mentality there. But they will tell you, hey, go down so we can assess the situation, figure out who the backup is, and make sure he is ready to go play. So there's things that happen, that's there. So 1, how do you measure the extent of the injury? And then 2, what's the penalty, right? Is this a fine on the coach? Is this a penalty where you're losing yardage? Is this a penalty to the player now where he can't play for a drive, 2 drives, a quarter? So a lot of things to look at here. I don't have an answer for you maybe today, but I will definitely monitor this situation moving forward and keep an eye on it. Because the last thing anybody wants is to be in a very big football game and for this to come up quite frequently.
Look, I think I have the answer just thinking about it. You know how there's replay officials now? They've got cameras all over the place. Replay it. Put the cameras on the kid. If he just goes down out of nowhere, man, throw the flag, stop the clock, throw the flag, 10-yard penalty, right? This kid clearly just went down. Now, if he's, again, how would you police that? I don't know. But if you just start making objective calls and saying, hey, you know what? Or subjective. I think that's right. I'm getting myself in
subjective,
trouble.
Right? Would be
subjective calls.
Yeah.
More opinionated. Just make the subjective call. Just say, you know what? He was standing. Then he went down when they made a first down. No. 10-yard penalty. I don't care if he's hurt or not. Make it a 10-yard penalty and a loss of down.
Or loss of down.
A first down. If it's offense, loss of down. If he's on defense, first down. You got to make it a real penalty on these guys. Replay official, zoom in on the guy, make the subjective call. I'll be that guy. Do you hear these? I don't want to get off on this tangent.
Whoa.
Sunday night football.
Yeah.
I'm watching Sunday night football. I don't even know who the hell the replay official is in the booth, the NBC guy, whoever he is. These guys, Dean Blandino, Terry McCauley, Gene Steratore on CBS.
These guys.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Hey, let's go to our replay official, Gene Steratore. Well, I think it might be, it could be, in my opinion, it would be, I think it should be. I would say this, then they're dead wrong. Well, he got it right. Give me a break. They are worse than meteorologists. It's awful. It's the biggest racket. It is the biggest racket in all of sports, across all sports. The replay official or the official in the booth with the guys is a total joke. I'm just getting that out there.
Dude, I can't wait now to be in a booth one day and just, hey man, just gonna have to call it how I see it, right? I don't care what. Hey, I'm gonna call it how I see it. You like it or not, these are my eyes, and I'm just giving you my opinion.
This might not surprise you, but I went to the NFL broadcasting boot camp in LA this past April. It was so sick, right? Got to go out there, 5-day intensive. You work with all the major networks. It was so cool. Great experience, great connections. Well, I actually got accepted into that program in 2020, and it got canceled because of COVID.
Yeah.
So we did like a 2-day Zoom seminar, whatever. But Gene Steratore was on one of the seminars. And I'm sitting in my office like I am right now, and it's like, open it up for questions. So I just asked him a question, and it was a very pointed question about exactly that, about just officials in general. Like what are we doing to monitor officials in the NFL? This is a joke. He got so pissed off, Jake. I'm not even kidding you. He got so mad and defensive. He went on this like total rant about how tough it is to be an official. And I got an award for the best question of the seminar. They were like, Drew Butler, you get an award. He was hot because I was like, dude, this is a joke. I mean, we have to have some sort of repercussions for poor officiating. He didn't like that. He did not like that. All right. Shout out Shane Beamer. I think I got your answer. Subjective replays on fake injuries with big time penalties. There you go. All right. Let's go to third down real quick. Spencer, our producer, he pulled a great one from Connor Stallions, our buddy who made college football spin backwards last season at the University of Michigan. Of course, his documentary, the Science Stealing documentary, it's fantastic. If you haven't watched it yet, definitely go watch it. He was on the Bussin' with the Boys podcast, and he dropped a little tidbit, right? So Connor Stallions and what he did with the Science Stealing, direct correlation to in-helmet communications now being for quarterbacks with play callers and defensive players with defensive play callers. But he went on this podcast, Jake, and said, I don't know if this hasn't been happening in some instances in the past. And I think he has some receipts. Check this out.
There's already, I'm not going to say who, it's not a Big Ten school, but there's already been a team that has had Bluetooth to the quarterback for years.
No shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Can I guess?
A big time. Hang on.
I'm not going to tell you if you're warmer or colder. It's just not in the Big Ten.
It's a Big Ten team.
It's a power 4, power 5. What do you want to call it? Team?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to call Fugazi on him, but and clearly he has had the pulse of these types of instances. But Jake, I just feel like Bluetooth in a 90,000 person stadium, whether it is from the booth or from the sideline, I just have questions. I'll just go ahead and call bullshit on that one.
Dang, I am on the other side of this.
Really?
Well, I can tell you, I mean, I think it's totally possible.
Really?
I do think it is possible. Okay. And then 2, I know who it is absolutely not. And it is not the dogs. I never had a Bluetooth thing
you wish you
in
did.
my ear. So, man, that would have been great. Hey, check to this or, call that. I think that would have been great, been very helpful. But it was definitely not us. And honestly, I do see it being pretty plausible.
Interesting. I don't know. Like, what are you doing? Are you taping an AirPod, or are you putting a speaker in the back of the helmet? Clearly referees and officials aren't doing their jobs checking helmets. They were never even thinking about doing that a year ago or a couple of years ago. It's just a really interesting accusation. And I would be really more interested to see, like, are they doing this? They're not covering the ear holes on their helmets. I don't know. I'll just say no.
Yeah.
I just don't think so.
Yeah. I kind of like that thought there of you just feel like you would have seen something, like you said, of being in a situation of just accidentally maybe putting the old hands on the ears. Let me hear a little bit better.
Right.
I don't know. I still think it's possible. I think it's totally doable. Technology today is out of this world. And we know budgets for universities, hey,
endless.
They don't care, right? It's somebody else's dime. They don't care. They're going to spend whatever they need to spend. So I am on the plausible side, but I do think maybe things would have come up by now. But you never know, man. People are tight-lipped about things.
All right, what I need is the sickos on social media to just go ahead and do your investigative work here. Find out who the school was.
We want to know, yeah.
And when we hear who the school was, we can revisit this situation and say, was it true or not? If he's talking about Ohio State, I'll immediately say no.
He said it wasn't in the Big Ten.
Okay, well, there you go. We'll find out. Somebody find out for us. We'll revisit this issue. All right, that was 3 and Out. Pretty good storylines. I like that, Jake. Good stuff. You brought it. Let's go to our Prize Picks segment of the week. If you didn't know, last week, your boy DB got on the board with a monster 4-pick entry on Thursday Night Football.
He's getting hot, heating up.
It was beautiful, and Jake Fromm knows best. When Drew Butler gets hot, get on the wagon right now.
Hammer it.
Because we're not getting off. I have an amazing one for you this weekend. Let's jump right into it. We'll start with Shedeur Sanders. I saw this and I just smiled. Colorado, huge win against UCF 2 weeks ago. I think they had a bye week last week. Shedeur Sanders, more than 1.5 passing touchdowns against Kansas State. This is a late game on Saturday.
1.5?
Yes, 1.5 passing touchdowns. More than that against Kansas State. If Colorado has any chance, he's going to be airing it out. That's a no-brainer. Shedeur Sanders, more than 1.5 passing touchdowns. And then we're going to our boys in Tuscaloosa. They are headed to Columbia, South Carolina to play the Gamecocks. Wait, excuse me. This game is actually in Alabama. They are playing in Tuscaloosa. You know that these guys have to have a big comeback game. There is no question about it. They are hosting South Carolina. It's at noon on ABC. Jalen Milroe, more than a half a rushing or receiving touchdown. He will run into the end zone for a touchdown. He has to. He has to get outside the pocket. Those DNs at South Carolina, they love to crash the pocket, collapse the pocket. No such thing as contained there. Jalen Milroe will get outside the pocket. He will run for a touchdown. Jalen Milroe, more than a half a rushing and receiving touchdown. And I'm going to Old Faithful, the 17-year-old phenom. Ryan Williams, are you kidding me? 72.5 receiving yards. More than that. He'll get that on one catch.
That's one catch, right?
One catch, coach. Ryan Williams, more than 72.5 receiving yards. So this is your week 7 punt and pass prize pick entry. Shedeur Sanders, more than 1.5 passing touchdowns. Jalen Milroe, more than a half a rushing or receiving touchdown. And Ryan Williams, more than 72.5 receiving yards. That is it. The DB prize picks entry of the week. That is it. $50 pays $150. Book it.
Like that.
All right, let's jump inside the 5. Woo! Feeling good. Feeling good. We'll start in Athens. A little 4:15 kick. SEC Network. Mississippi State coming to play the 5th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Huge line here, Jay. Dogs laying 34. Totals 53.5. Mississippi State. I don't really know if they've got much hope in Starkville, bud. And Georgia, the fans have been called out. The players have been called out. The coaches have been called out. What more do they need to do? All they do is win football games, coach. 34 points. I don't know, man. This game could be 31-0. Everybody would be happy you don't cover.
Yeah, it's like all the logic says they're not going to do it. I think, you love to mention, Kirby Smart against these kind of spreads, against these kind of teams, just don't really quite end up covering late in this game. I don't think Mississippi State scores more than 10 points in this football game. I could definitely see it being a 3 or maybe a 6-point game for these guys. And I just feel it in my bones, a big offensive performance for the Dogs on offense. They have to do it. Just all the things are bottling up. It's time to explode on offense. Dogs cover. Just, I'm going my heart here on this one.
Laying the 34. Smart thing to do there, Jake. I mean, Mississippi State, it's not going well. Jeff Lebby, first-year head coach. I just don't know if they have a lot of talent. I really don't.
Yeah.
When it gets above 24 points, that's what I've always said. Kirby Smart just does not cover these games. He just doesn't. Look, what's the need? This is a conference game. Surely the fans will be fired up. That 4:15 kick, plenty of time to get lubed up in Athens. Weather's going to be perfect as well. Mississippi State 1-4 right now. keep in mind they got boat raced by Toledo 41-17. They hung around with Texas a little bit, only lost 35-13 there.
Yep.
Just give me the 34 points. Georgia's going to take care of business. They're going to run the ball. It'll be a nice little get-right game for them. Heading into Texas next week, going to be a monster game. That got announced as a night game as well. So I don't want to say it's a look-ahead spot, Jake. Georgia will win soundly. There's no doubt. But again, if it's 41-10, you don't cover. 34 is a lot of points. I will take Mississippi State with the 34 points. I'm really interested to see what the Dogs are up to this weekend. So we'll have a great breakdown for you on Monday. All right, let's go to the Red River rivalry. First ever SEC rendition. Texas coming in as the number 1 ranked team. They're playing the 18th ranked Oklahoma Sooners. 3:30 p.m. kickoff on ABC. Texas is a 14.5 point favorite. The total here is 50.5 points. Of course, this game's at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas during the Texas State Fair.
Yeah. Coach, tell me this. Now, forgive me for not knowing. Is Quinn Ewers back at the helm?
All reports indicate that he will be playing. Steve Sarkisian said that he practiced 3 times during the bye week. He looked good. And when I last checked on Monday, he said, looks good, sounds good. We'll see what happens this week. So I would assume that Quinn Ewers is back in the fold.
Yeah, I think both of these teams are coming off
a bye
week. To me, I see that equating to just a tight game here. Texas wins. I don't think they cover. I think Oklahoma has figured some things out on offense. They finally picked their guy, sticking with them. Their quarterback made the quarterback change. I think they hang around a little bit. I think even to me, if Quinn plays or doesn't play, I still think there'll be a slower start to the offense. I think he's going to have to get back out there, figure some things out, kind of get a little bit of a sweat going, get hit a couple times. But I see a slower start. Now, I could be completely wrong, but I see a little slower start to this game, and I see it being a little bit tighter than people think.
I love that you said that. Because it plays exactly into the reason why I love Texas covering 14.5 points. Got a couple of stats for you.
Tell me.
Fifth time in the Red River rivalry, Texas has entered as the top-ranked team in the country. They're 3-0-1 in those previous 4 meetings. This is the 44th time that both of these teams have been ranked. That's only second to the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry, where they have both played 49 times as the ranked teams.
Wow.
Oklahoma's won 5 of the last 6, right? They've won 11 of the last 15.
They own
Ewers, Arch Manning. Do they own them? A lot of people are going to love Oklahoma in the spot. More than 2 touchdowns, 14.5. This is a classic fade the trendy underdog. Everybody's going to be on Oklahoma. I like Texas. Lay the 14.5. Big look-ahead spot for Texas. They're hosting Georgia next week, so they can take care of business. Maybe they're looking ahead. I don't know, but I'm just going to go the other way. When you zig, I zag. I'm laying the 14.5 with the Texas Longhorns. So that's going to be a fun game to watch. That game is always at noon as well. They're at 3:30.
3:30.
So a little bit extra time for folks to enjoy the Texas State Fair. Let's talk about this Florida-Tennessee game. Florida at the 8th-ranked Tennessee Volunteers. Night game in Neyland, 7 p.m. kickoff, ESPN. Tennessee, a 15.5 point favorite coming off that loss at Arkansas. The total is 55.5. Look, if Billy Napier gets this one, you know how much Tennessee has struggled against the Gators over the last 2 decades, really. If Tennessee gets this one, Billy Napier might just buy himself some time, Jake.
Yeah, I completely agree. I just don't think it will happen. I'm expecting a big response from Heupel and Nico Amaliava to come out and really take ownership of this offense and really put up video game numbers here. This guy, he hasn't really gotten back to that form that we saw those first 2 or 3 weeks in the season. And I think Nico kind of gets back to that a little bit. I think he gets back chunking it around, feeling comfortable and confident in what he's seeing, and dishes that thing around. I think he uses his arm. I think he uses his legs. And I think Tennessee's going to score a lot of points. They're at home. It is tough to play at Rocky Top. It really is. I just don't see it from the Gators, man.
Yeah, going to be tough. The Gators do own this series 17-2 straight up since 2005. However, they've lost 2 of their last 4 at Neyland. Vol's got to get right. It was
right?
frustrating to watch that game and understand the potential that Tennessee's offense has with Nico Iamaleava, with their pace of play. And it just seems like Heupel gets tense in those moments. And I said this to you on Monday. It directly shows in how Nico plays. He's hesitant. He's not letting it rip. You got to let that guy go, man. Let him go. I think they'll do that Saturday night in Neyland. Should be a great atmosphere. So I'm going to lay the 15.5 points with you.
There we go.
Absolutely. Tennessee, big, no question about it. All right, big game in the Big Ten. A top 3 matchup out in Eugene, Oregon. The second-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes taking on the third-ranked Oregon Ducks. 7:30 p.m. kick on NBC. Ohio State, a 3-point road favorite. This total is at 53.5 points. Dan Lanning, Dylan Gabriel, that Oregon team that had so much hype heading into the season, Jake, they just been kind of lackluster. Now they're welcoming in Ohio State. Autzen Stadium should be rocking.
Yeah, it's going to be rocking. Look, they're quietly the number 3 team in the country. We know about Dylan Gabriel. He is an experienced guy. He's been in these situations before. But let me tell you about Oregon's running game. And this is kind of where I think it's going to be the difference maker here in this game. The Oregon running back, his name is Jordan James. This dude's been carrying the load for this offense and really kind of getting them through this figuring out on offense here with Dylan Gabriel. They can do whatever they want. They can throw the ball to win. They can run the ball to win. I think they're going to control more of this football game than you think and you expect. And I like Oregon here, man. I really do. They're at home. This is a new Ohio State football team. Give me the Ducks.
Yeah, I'm right there in line with you. Oregon is 10-4 against the spread and straight up when hosting top 10 conference opponents. Clearly, that was in the Pac-12. Yep. Now they're in the Big Ten. I think that does carry over. They're only 1-4 against the spread this season, Oregon. Vegas does not give away money. Vegas gets it right at some point. 3 is a lot. A home dog primetime game. Autzen Stadium will be rocking. That atmosphere is going to be electric. This is the first game Oregon has been a home underdog since 2018. That is a 33-game streak. I think Oregon keeps it close. I don't think it's far-fetched to say they do figure it out. Dylan Gabriel does get it going. Jordan James does control the clock. Yes, I know Ohio State has all the talent in the world. Somebody chirped me on social media last week, Jake. How about this? Because I thought Iowa would keep it close against Ohio State. The guy was like, you don't know ball. You don't know ball. I go, dude, I know ball. I'm a ball knower. Get out of my face. Sorry, I thought Iowa would keep it close. 18.5 points is a lot. They couldn't score. That's not my fault. I'm a ball knower. Get out of my face. Right?
That's right.
Thank you. Thank you for at least agreeing with me a little bit. I like Oregon as well. I think that's going to be an awesome game. So we're both on the same side there. Take the primetime home dog, Oregon catching 3.
Dude, you just had my mind going. I think we got to put that on a hat. I'm a ball knower. I like that. I really do.
I am.
Good stuff.
Look, I might have been a punter. I might just be a podcaster, but I know ball. Don't come at me with that weak shit. I know ball.
I like that. Stand your ground, Coach.
I will. You know me. I will for sure. All right, last game. In Baton Rouge, the 9th-ranked Ole Miss Rebels are heading to LSU to take on the LSU Tigers. 7:30 p.m. kick on ABC. I believe my boy Sean McDonough is calling this game. Should be an awesome atmosphere in Old Red Stick. Ole Miss a 3.5-point favorite. Whoa, that surprised me big time. The total here is 61.5 points.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me one bit, honestly. I like Ole Miss to respond here. I really like both these quarterbacks. I like Jackson Dart. Love Garrett Nussmeier. Love both these guys. I just think Ole Miss is a better all-around team. And I think the Lane Kiffin effect will come out on top here. I do. I think he gets it done here. I really do. There have been times in big games where obviously just been a little bit short. That was maybe Alabama. That was maybe an Alabama Nick Saban thing, but I think he gets it done. I think Ole Miss is here to stay and here to stick around a little bit. I like Ole Miss in this game, man. I think it's their time.
The home team is 10-2 straight up, has won the last 4 meetings and covered 9 of the last 10 in this matchup. That's coming straight from Phil Steele, the Bible. I think LSU night crowd. Look, I get it. Lane Kiffin, Jackson Dart, electric offense. The only team they've played this year, I mean, obviously they had to go on the road in Kentucky. They lost that one. They took care of business against South Carolina as well. I think LSU gets it done here. You know, I mean, LSU, Brian Kelly needs this game in a big way. You're giving me 3.5 points for the Tigers at home in a night game at Tiger Stadium? Are you kidding me?
Absolutely, I am.
So you're just laying it. You say Ole Miss all day,
Ole Miss.
day.
All day, coach.
Well, we'll go opposite sides on that one. I love LSU.
I told you. I told you when we picked the Georgia game, I'm going with my heart this week.
Yes. Well, that often works out for you. So there you go. Should be an awesome weekend of college football across the SEC. A couple of big primetime matchups across the country as well. I think we're like 2 or 3 weeks away from the first college football playoff rankings.
Wow.
You know, we'll have that dialed in right here on Punt and Pass. That does it for week 7 of Punt and Pass. Hope everybody's been enjoying this season so far. Please check us out on YouTube. I think our YouTube product is absolutely incredible. Huge shout out to Spencer Ray, our producer extraordinaire. So please go on over to our YouTube channel at Punt and Pass and subscribe. Check us out on social media as well. Punt and Pass on X and Instagram. Huge shout out to our presenting sponsor and our partner, Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app. Use the promo code PUNT. I gave you our 3-pick entry of the week. It's going to hit this week. If you play $5, you instantly get $50, win or lose. Shedeur Sanders, more than 1.5 passing touchdowns. Jalen Milroe, more than 1/2 a receiving or a rushing touchdown. Ryan Williams, more than 72.5 receiving yards. That is a complete lock. I love it. Download the Prize Picks app. Use the promo code PUNT. $50 instantly when you play your first $5 entry. Tell a family member. Tell a friend. Jake, anything on the way out, my man?
No, I think you hit it. You're about to get hot. Can't wait to see the Prize Picks start rolling in.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Thanks so much, everybody. Have an awesome weekend. Everybody in Florida, stay safe. We're thinking about you guys, and we will talk to you on Monday. See ya.
We out.